Okay, alright. Add it up. Okay, alright. Add it up. Add it up. Add it up.
Good morning. How is everybody doing? So glad to see your face. Today is Wednesday, middle part of the week. So this is the Data Plus, the Comptia Data Plus study group. And if this is your first time here, let's talk about it, okay? So in the bottom right-hand corner, there is a timer. That timer started at 45 minutes when we started. We will study for 45 minutes. Then we have a 5-minute break. Once that 5-minute break is done, then what we will do is we come back and we do a rapid 5 questions to go through what we learned. Sometimes it's not even what we learned. It's stuff we haven't even learned yet. So that's where that's going. So I usually catch when it's time for you guys to go on break. So I will usually let you know, hey, you're going to be going on break in a couple of minutes. So come on in, grab you some coffee. Today's coffee is Arabica beans. Just ground them up this morning. Wanted to try something different instead of having my quick flavored coffee, which I'll have later, but I wanted to share with you guys. So grab your coffee, and we are going to hum a bit. I'm going to cut up this background a little bit because today we're going to be sitting, kind of going through this and taking notes. We left off on data types last time. So we want to make sure we kind of address and kind of refresh where we are. So if you're looking at this, let's talk about this as well. So these items, the way that we do them, yellow are items specifically that have to do with things that I believe will be on the exam. So we have quite a few of those. Blue are things that if you were talking about your specific job, i.e. being a data analyst or data scientist specifically, how would you explain what you do? These are some ideas that I thought were interesting in how to explain that to someone. Pink are things when we get ready to go through in-book quizzes and seeing where we are and you know how we do on the exams that are inside of the book. And the oranges are my own personal things that I want to take when I get done with this and I want to put inside of a notebook to keep it separate from this. So that's what our build up is. Let's go ahead and get started with our work. If you have any questions, go ahead. You can type them into wherever you're watching me, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, wherever you're watching me, you're able to just type in the question. I'll see that question show up on the screen. If it's something for the whole entire group, I will definitely bring it up onto the screen to ask the question, or sometimes I just answer them myself. Okay? All right, since we got that out the way, let's get studying. Very key to say here, unstructured data is any type that does not fit into a tabular model. I am sure at some point that will be on an exam. Okay, I think that that's a great example of like unstructured data. He gave specifically for a veterinary office, if they now wanted to add pictures of the animals to the database, that would be considered unstructured data. Binary data type is one of the most common data types for storing unstructured data. I believe that that will end up being a question that we are going to have on the exam. Specifically, my thoughts are that we will end up having something along the lines of what is the most common data type? Something along those lines. I can see that being a legitimate question. Okay. Okay, so it says it supports any type of digital file. I just want to make sure that's up loud enough for you guys to hear me okay. It supports any data type, which is good. Okay, that's actually solid. Alright, so when considering which binary data type to use, file size tends to be the limiting factor. I guess that's a pretty good thing. Like if you're doing Microsoft Excel, he's pointing out like in Microsoft Excel, you can't put in a picture. It won't allow you to put in a picture in the cell. I didn't quite know if that was true because I thought you could put a picture in there, but I didn't know you couldn't blend the two types of data. It says, whenever you interact with the customer service agent in here, this call may be recorded for quality assurance purposes. Your conversation is probably being recorded and stored for later analysis. Very true. Could see that being on an exam too. All right, I think that is a
sound signal, much better sound signal than whatever was happening before. I'm not sure. I know you guys could hear me before. I just didn't think the signal was going through very well, so I wanted to adjust it so you guys wouldn't get it blasted in your ears while you're trying to hear me. I always hate that when people are streaming and they're not aware of what they sound like. Most of the time because they just have a mic and headphones to listen to the game or whatever it is that they're doing, so they don't really get a chance to hear what they sound like. So oddly enough, that's a good thing. An avalanche detection system. What is that? The impact of capturing, storing, and analyzing audio data has led to the development of avalanche detection systems. What is that? We need to go find out what that is. So, alright, so right now you guys can't see the portion, but it says the avalanche detection systems are usually based on infrasound, seismic, or radar signals. Within the study, when compared three different types of avalanche detection systems, one avalanche radar, one infrasound array system consisting of four. Okay, so they're just using like the different wave sounds. Okay, got it. These systems listen. Hello, if I finish reading the rest of the sentence. Okay. If I'd actually finished reading the sentence instead of like assuming that they weren't going to define it, but he defined it. No, you're fine. Come on in. It's fine. I was just like reading this portion where it says they're talking about like audio data and how audio data is being stored. And he's going through the different types of data. Specifically, we talked about a couple of pages ago, we talked about the Excel data. And like in Excel, you can't put a picture in Excel, for example. You can't put it into a cell. But like if you were to do Google Sheets, for example, he was showing the differences, and I'll just back up here for a minute. So he was saying like you're trying to put, like if this was a veterinary clinic, and the veterinary clinic was taking this particular binary data type, that was the main part I think he's going through here, and saying like, hey, that could be a picture. And in a regular Excel sheet, you're having some issue with doing that. That doesn't flow very well in an Excel spreadsheet. But for example, in a Google spreadsheet, you can put pictures of the dog. So the veterinary clinic, if they wanted to use this and to put pictures, still it would probably be better for them to have a database where they can marry up this information and have pictures, and do charts and things like that, as opposed to trying to manage all of that in an Excel spreadsheet. There are limitations. So when we got to here, he was talking about audio, and I didn't know what an avalanche. I know what a avalanche is, but I didn't know what the detection system was. So I was trying to figure out what did that have to do with audio. And then he goes through and says these systems listen for and detect the acoustic characteristics of the avalanche. With real-time notification capabilities, these systems reduce the time it takes for emergency services to respond. So, oddly enough, that I was sitting there, like, I went, looked this up. I didn't think he was going to define it, so I just was like, what is avalanche detection system? So, that's what I was laughing about when you guys came in. Oh, today's coffee is Arabica beans. So this was not my normal coffee that I have in the morning with you guys. This is just a plain blend, came from the store. I just had ran out of coffee, so I stopped and got this. Now, this actually sat inside of my cupboard for like a week and a half. Almost 2 weeks, and I had never blended it. I just poured it into the container, and then this morning I was like, oh, I should probably blend that stuff, get it done. So I blended it, put it inside of my, it's a Ember cup. Yeah, so I got one of these because I got tired of my coffee getting cold when I would go to meetings and stuff since I'm working from home now, so, that was that thing. So I uploaded it. It's nothing special, just regular. But if I get something special, I will let you guys know. I'll be the first to be like, hey, look, by the way, try this coffee. Okay, let's get back to the avalanche detection systems. That's going to be the quote for today, and somebody's going to make a meme of that. I can see it. And it's going to end up on Twitter, and it's going to be like, what is the avalanche detection system? As an avalanche is coming behind me in my freaking hoodie. What I think is interesting, like he was saying with this, like, when you call those, like you call a place and they will tell you, like, this call is being recorded for quality assurance purposes. Like the system, like when they record that data, what I'm interested in is, does it have a certain amount of time? Like, meaning, is there a specific time frame that item is going to stay? I'm assuming that some places like hospitals and stuff, they have to keep their data for long periods of time. That'd be interesting to see what that, that time frame is. If any of you guys work at hospitals, I'd love to know if that's like a thing. You have to keep it for a certain period of time. The same way, like in medical records, I can speak for medical records because I used to work in medical records in Portsmouth, Virginia. when I was stationed there. So I know for medical records, they have to be kept. Well, they were then. It was 10 years. I don't know if that's still the case. So I don't know if like recordings have to be kept, or like doctors that do dictations into systems, if those are kept for certain periods of time. Like if they have to be kept 10 years, like you would a medical record, that'd be interesting. So if you guys find it out, let me know. Or maybe that's just like this. Like if you're watching me on Twitch, like I know some of you are, if you're watching me on Twitch, this is recorded and stored on the Twitch server. Now granted, I get a copy of this. The system that I use to stream this gets a copy of it, and that's stored. YouTube has a copy of this. Twitter has a copy of this. LinkedIn has a copy of this. So wherever you're watching me from, this is being stored as a data type. I mean, but interestingly enough, I find that fascinating that there's a period of like stuff that we've been doing for years, and until I started studying this, I never would have thought about it. It's like you record a video, put it on Facebook, you never think about that data point and like the audio or the video for that matter. That would be a microphone. The data is then digitized and stored. You guys are probably ready to move forward in the next page. Give me a minute, let me finish up and go to... Wait, he said 1 trillion? Whoa! Whoa, did you guys see this? He says people take more than 1 trillion photographs every calendar year. Whoa. And I'm assuming that's only whatever database he got that's from to quote this specific figure. That's only stuff that had to be uploaded. Could you imagine just how much is like on like Apple iCloud servers or own personal servers, stuff like that? Here's something I don't know if you guys knew, and just chat wherever you are if you knew this. So you know how you're going into, let's say you're logging into your bank or you're logging into a website to make a purchase, and you have those boxes where it'll say, please click on all of the trains or click on the bridge. Something I learned yesterday, I didn't know. Do you know the reason why that is being done? Is because that particular place where you're logging in is using artificial intelligence algorithms in order to be able to assist on their website, and you're teaching them this picture means bridge, this picture means crosswalk, this picture means car. You're teaching them what that is. So the requirement for you to get in is to choose 3 of those things, and you're teaching a computer to learn better, like to say that, like we know this is a motorcycle, no matter what country you're from or wherever you're watching me from. Most people, I should say, would know this is at least a bike of some form because it's got 2 wheels. But a computer doesn't know that this is a motorcycle. And specifically, it doesn't know it's a racing motorcycle. So if it were to go through and you had a picture that would say, please touch the tires, or please confirm the tires. And well, you see 2 tires here. You would then go through and teach the artificial intelligence that this is a motorcycle. So I didn't know that. I actually learned that inside of a class that I was taking on Udemy. And I found out about artificial intelligence, and I was like, whoa, that makes sense, but most of the time you can't just bypass it. You have to teach the system. So they're all farming us, if you will. But on the flip side of that, there is one other thing that this brings up as well, is when you go into like your iPhone and you type in cat, okay, and the system will pull up all of the pictures inside of your book or inside of your system that have cats. So the thought process will be, well, how does it know it's a cat? Who taught it that it was a cat? And I mean, we may not think about it. We're just thinking like, I need my picture of my cat. But who taught that system that this is a cat? So that's what we really have to think about, is how many pictures did Apple have to feed to its system, its artificial intelligence system, to know that this is a cat? So just food for thought. Think about that. And okay, so even like this, look at this picture. Like, you just type in motorcycle, and it gives you different motorcycles. Hence, how would it know the difference between if you said red motorcycle, or in this case, blue motorcycle? How would it know the differences between that? That is something really interesting to consider, is how are we teaching systems without them actually asking us to teach? We're just going through and saying, I need to get into my bank. This is a motorcycle. It's blue. Okay, now that makes sense. So, hold on. See how he says, like, var binary or blob? So he's talking about this. So var binary here. And he's talking about, okay, got it. So the binary types, and then saying, okay, so if you were doing audio, he didn't suggest that there was a specific type. I guess audio can be stored because you can compress it and you can store it, hence like an MP3 or something like that. But images, because images, the size of the image matters. And he's saying storing images in a database requires a data type designed to handle raw binary data, such as var binary or blob. So I could see that being a test question, or something he wants to quiz you on to understand what binary type would you use to store images. And he's suggesting var binary and blob. I'll have to look up what blob is. I don't know what blob is, so if you guys ask, I don't know what that is. So I have to look that up myself, but actually, we can do it. So, blob stands for binary large object. It is a collection of binary data stored as a single entity. So it says blobs are typically images, audio, or multimedia objects. So binary large. So I guess that's the reason why you would use like that, and like var binary is also something. Var binary is a type. It is similar to varchar, which is a type of data, but stores binary byte strings rather than non-binary character strings. So we will have to kind of figure out what that means in English. I won't say that's not English. I'm just saying simplistically we'll have to figure out what the hell var binary and blob is. But blob, at least from what I'm understanding, is a binary. It allows you to store large binary types. So in this case, images. So what I would think of, the way I'm thinking about blob is, it is like if you were to use a large, like you created a file on your desktop, and that file can only have the maximum amount of what your hard drive space is. So if you have, 250 gigs of hard drive space, that folder technically can only have a certain amount of that hard drive space. So I'm thinking of blob like you would put, if you wanted to store pictures, you would put them in a blob type. So you put them in a blob folder because that can hold large amounts of data. I'm assuming that is similar to compression audio data. There are a variety of ways to encode and store images. So I'm assuming that these are not raw files. I'm assuming that these go in and then they're compressed and stored in this blob file. This blob type, sorry, not blob file. Video data is going at a similar pace to image data. No, really? Really? Yeah. How cool would that be? Not to get off topic for a minute, but think about this. Like, I like doing videos, and I like, that's kind of my hobby. And I'm not very good at it, but I do love doing it. But I'll say this much, like, how cool would it be? Not necessarily to, like, work on the side of, like, necessarily the content creation portion, but just understanding, like, how do you, the videos, like this one, like when this gets done and we finish this course, okay, this video will be compressed onto the website where they store this, and I will have a copy of it as well. This also gets stored to YouTube. Like, being it, like, that's massive amounts of videos that people are putting up, whether, and like you said here, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Now, granted, I'm not a TikTok person, but I'm definitely an Instagram person and definitely a YouTube guy. And both of those, people are putting content on, and just, that's a massive amount, and it has to be stored. I didn't think about, like, the police camera video or any of that. I think that's amazing. Like, that's a data type, and there's somebody's job that's out there to monitor that, to store it, retrieve it, make sure that it's safe, data stewardship and all of that. That's awesome. There is actually, like, right here, he's talking about imaging processing algorithms. I have a ring system in my house, but I do know Arlo. If you have an Arlo home system, a home security system, Arlo, I believe, still has. Now, I haven't looked at their things in probably about 2 years now, but they have a detection system, so they can detect, for example, an animal. Like, actually looking at the video, it can detect an animal versus a human. Like, most of the video cameras that you will have, let's just use Ring because I have a lot of experience with that. Like, Ring cameras, they're, like, your doorbells and stuff, that can only detect your Like it can detect you, an animal and a human based off of height. So it can say the algorithm inside of the doorbell will be able to say, obviously a dog is not going to be, 6'1". Most dogs anyway. You're not going to be 6'1". So it can detect that. And it can say, okay, this is a dog or this is some type of animal because it is below, let's say, 3 feet. And then there is a 6 foot person or a 5 foot person. But Arlo is actually able to tell. I believe they're still able to tell by heat. So they can actually tell the differences in the animals based off of course, height as well, but they use another algorithm to be able to determine, okay, this is a human.
No, this is your dog in the front yard. Like it can determine that. So that's an interesting thing I never thought about, like image processing and where that's being done. As far as I know, that's being done on the actual unit. And I think Google is doing the same thing. I think Google has similar, like I've never had any Google cameras in my home, but I do have several cameras, like 7 of them around my house. So, and that's not on the outside of them, both on the outside and the inside of my home. So there's a lot of data that's constantly being amassed as I go day after day after day. My life is recorded. Every time I go to the bathroom, going into the bathroom, that's recorded, all of that stuff. So I live my life in this kind of like constant recording phase, and eventually you get so used to it you don't even pay attention to you being recorded. So I know a lot of people, they've come to me and said, like, what happens if like somebody breaks in and like, or somebody gets in and starts to see your data. It's like, well, Ring went through that, and it was a public travesty for them. They really did. They went through. Someone was able to hack into their system. If someone's going to hack into the system, it's going to happen. So that portion, there's not anything I'm doing inside of my life that I'm worried about. If somebody were to see, it would be illegal. So, I'm fine with that, but I never thought about how the video is being processed and where it's being processed. Oh my. So for that data type, so I'm wondering if you would store video in Blob or Varchar as well, because of how large video um, video is. Because like he's saying, how many minutes it is, and he's just doing this breakdown, but oh, it's a different data type for large text. What I was thinking about for large text is there is, like, if you are a iPad user, there is a app that um, you probably have heard about. If you're like, if you go on YouTube and look at any YouTube videos on iPads, anybody who is seriously using an iPad as their drivers, one of the things that they'll usually have is they'll either do Notability or they will do Good Notes. And those two different systems like allow you. Now, don't get me wrong, Apple Notes good, I'm not knocking Apple Notes. I'm just comparing the two like juggernauts when it comes to like the handwriting aspect. So if you use GoodNotes, as I was suggesting in the last video we had last time we chatted, that is one thing. Like, he's talking about large text, and he was giving some examples here about transcripts of legal proceedings, like public addresses, like the presidential addresses, for example, or verbose open-ended survey responses. So if I was thinking about just on a smaller level, or the individual level of large text, like I had never thought about like the data points of all of the handwritten notes that I do inside of GoodNotes. All of those things have to be stored, and then there's a system and an algorithm that is going through, because if I want to search through GoodNotes to find something that I wrote, it can determine that I wrote a specific word. So for example, I hand wrote the in my writing, and there is a computer system that can go through and determine that stroke that I did amounts to the word the, and that has to be stored somewhere. So this large text, he's going through like the size. So there's varchar again, but now instead of blob, it's clob. So let's find out what clob is. Clob is a character large object, is a large block of text stored in a database in some form of text encoding. Oracle and IBM DB2 databases provide explicit support for clob, though other databases can maintain large amounts of text in some way. Clobs can be very large, up to 2 gigabytes or larger. So I'm assuming that's just like blob, but clob is along the lines of the blob. It was for, give me a second. Blob, I believe, was for audio, because that's the binary, the large binary. I don't know if it can include the video or not, because he didn't say for the video part what format he would suggest. Audio is for blob. Clob we're using for large text. And then SQL. So it looks like here, clob is Oracle. Actually, it looks like Oracle only. SQL, Microsoft SQL Server uses varchar max, and then SQL version of it is long text. So that's what this breakdown is here, is because clob doesn't go all the way across, so everybody doesn't use clob. Oracle does. Note that the data type differs. All right, so just warning you guys, if you look in the bottom right hand corner of your screen right now, we are less than 5 minutes before you guys get your break, and then get you some coffee and go to the bathroom and all of that stuff. If this is your first time here, you are going to hear a screen. If you are listening to me and not looking at the screen and just listening to what I'm saying, then what you will hear is you will hear a thunderstorm. Trust me, you will know that that is break time. That gives you 5 minutes to check your emails, get you something to drink, whatever it is you need to do. When you come back, we're going to go through 5 quick questions, and then you are going to be out of here. It is now currently 8:44 a.m. Central Standard Time here in Chicago. And what we will do is we'll come back and we'll go through our questions. We might do 5 questions this time, see if we can get those 5 questions done in 5 minutes. Maybe that's what we should do this time. Not sure. But we'll see what we can do. Okay, so Oracle has varchar 2 text data type. Oracle currently implemented varchar as a synonym for varchar 2. However, Microsoft's implementation of varchar is vastly different. In Oracle, since the varchar data type is a synonym of varchar, it is limited to 4,000 bytes. I don't think he will. I don't know that we need to get into this level of detail. It's good to know. I think more of the box is just to understand, like, hey, look, not all of the database systems that are used, not all of them specifically will handle text the same way. As you prepare for the Data Plus exam, you should be familiar with the different types of structured and unstructured data that you might encounter. Be prepared to evaluate a situation and select the most appropriate data type to store a piece of data. Okay. 2-minute warning. Oh, good question. So you guys know, we will be back here again. I believe it is on Saturday. I'm trying to stick to the Saturday times. I just believe that on a Saturday I do it at 10 because some people aren't up or they don't get up on Saturday at the same time that they would during the work day. So, and a lot of times it's either 8 or 10, but you guys can check on whatever system you're on. It'll tell you when the next one is. I put the whole week out ahead of time so that you guys can plan accordingly. If you can't make it to Mondays, you can come to Wednesdays. If you can't make it to Wednesdays, then you could come to the weekend sessions as well. So I try to make sure I spread it out and not do it every single day. That's demanding in my own personal life as well. But this is manageable over long periods of time. So, all right, you guys, we're going to stop right here. Let's put our little halo up. Bam. Now, we're going to stop right here, bookmark this area where we are, and we're going to pick up here on the next one. Right now, we're getting prepared for our break. And let me see if there's any questions or anything anybody wants to talk about before we go to break. Nope, don't see anything. But I will say this much. If you have a specific coffee that you want me to try, you can find me on any socials. If you found this video, you can find me in any of the socials that are attached to this. All right. You found this video because you're interested in either taking this test or you just want to come sit down and study with somebody over a period of time. So either way, you can find me on Twitter, on Instagram, obviously, YouTube. You can find me. All right. Welcome back. I hope you got some coffee, got a chance to go to the bathroom. Let's go ahead and get into our quiz now. Connor is aggregating temperature information from 5,000 Internet of Things temperature sensors at disparate locations around his farm. What type of measure is temperature, and what is an appropriate data type to contain these values? I might get this wrong, but I'm going to go continuous numeric. And the reason why I said it is because the numbers can go, there's no end to how long the numbers can go, and it's a numeric data type. Which of the following is not considered PHI? Personal health information. I'm going to go color preference. I don't even know what they mean by color preference. Zania needs to transfer PII to an external organization. What should she do next? Encrypt the data prior to sending it. While all options are viable, the best approach is to ensure data use arrangements exist prior to any of the next steps. As the DU ad, okay, so check data arrangements between her company and a third party. Got it. Gabby is trying to create a list of items to reverse chronological order. What clause does she need to add to her SQL query? In chronological order by. Anne is using the SQL to retrieve information stored in a relational database table. What DML command should she use to specify the records she would like to retrieve? So select. Okay. All right, we got 2 minutes. Blaze through that thing today. And got an 80%. The one that we got wrong is that she will check the data use arrangement between her company and the third party. That is the correct answer. So, all right. So, 2 minutes left, and let me take a look and see when the next event is scheduled. So for you guys that are wondering when the next event is coming down the pike, where we are and what we're doing. So we have one for Saturday at 8 a.m. So for those of you that were curious, we will be here Saturday, 8 a.m., going through and studying for this exam. The book, if you don't have the book, I would encourage you to take a look at Amazon or wherever it is that you get your books. And, if you want a hard copy, you don't have to read along with what we're doing. That may be too slow for you. I just use one of the things that you get is this study guide, which is very useful. So that is something to consider. Maybe we might have a few minutes for like a flashcards, but typically I don't try to do flashcards because we do flashcards. We need to do those probably on the weekend. And I think that's what we're going to start doing on the weekend is we'll start off just doing flashcards and we'll get, because this says 40 minutes. I don't think it'll take us 40 minutes to do flashcards. But who knows? We don't know the material. So it's a good way to study. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. That is about it for our study time together. Thank you guys for coming and hanging out with me and chilling and asking questions and just allowing me to vibe and hang out with you guys and have a nice cup of coffee and study first thing in the morning for those of you who are in Central Standard Time, those of you across the world. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I will see you guys on Saturday. All right. Until then, take care of yourself. Be safe.